What people don't understand is we have all of the same behaviors as these dogs.
Yeah.
What are the drives? Sex drive? We have that.
Yep.
Food drive?
Yeah.
Prey drive?
Yeah.
Yeah. Defense drive?
Yeah.
Hunt. Look at themselves in a primal way. So where's the issue?
The issue
Leave my bed.
is trying to find another color. All my colors that I can use. We need more color palette.
Yeah, I know. Some of those markers shit the bed. So.
Yeah, that one is shitty. Anyway.
Okay.
All right, so trying to make this make sense. A correction makes sense.
Yep.
So,
Well, what are we doing? We're trying to. So you've got people who are purely positive, don't correct.
right.
You've got people that are e-collar trainers that are completely reliant on one tool, right?
All right,
So you've got people that are completely reliant on food and good words. Yeah, methods. There you go. So this is going to be fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Because every time we get into corrections, you start to get into more and more variables.
Yeah.
More and more variables. And so what this is common sense if you have an understanding of animals and yourself. So you've got up there, you got behaviors, temperament, history, health, age, size, drive.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
You've got
Genetic predisposition.
genetic predisposition. So that's where it gets really blurry.
Yeah.
Is that so you've got behaviors, genetic predisposition, and temperament are all gonna go like this.
Yep.
They're all gonna go back and forth.
Yeah,
So
because even this, like trying to keep this as just because I said like let's try to just do action. So like possessive, how is that an action?
That's a behavior.
That's what I was like. I wrote it down anyway.
Right.
Protective, how is that really an action? It's a behavior.
Well, and it's a largely misinterpreted behavior.
I put quitting and shutting down on here because I was like, well,
Yeah.
but that's behavior.
Yeah.
Defend.
Well, but that's subjective too, because if you're using an e-collar the wrong way, you can get a dog to go. So laying down for a dog is usually I don't know what you want me to do.
Right.
Right. So there's people that go the dog's shutting down. It's probably not shutting down because you're overwhelming it. It's probably shutting down because it's not understanding it.
Right.
So when people say, "Oh, I don't want to shut the dog down," yeah, you shouldn't, because if the dog doesn't understand you, it doesn't understand what your philosophy is and everything like that. So how many times have you seen people who've had dogs that they say, "Oh, it shut down and I can make it go," not because I'm mean.
That's our very first interaction.
It is. It is.
Yep.
Yep.
So then I have defending, but I have items in self because
Territory.
yeah, that's territorial, and
It's
then
an
that's
item.
self-defense.
Yeah. 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 Well, it's defensive value. So, but the item, what's an item?
Food.
That's a
toy,
resource.
crate. Right.
So resources, items. Yeah, I mean, Jesus Christ.
Because if it's resource, okay, so we'll put resource guarding down here, or resource. But if, whoa, what the fuck? That's a G.
resource, you spell better than I do.
So, if it's like, okay, a crate.
Yeah.
Which is different than food.
Well, that's not, the dog's not defending a crate. It's defensive because it can't escape.
Okay.
So now you're getting into fight or flight.
Yeah.
And it's actually 3Fs: fight, flight, or freeze. So that's what shutting down is. It's a form of freeze, right?
Yeah.
But what I want to get into, so let's leave that alone. So let's go to the human side, okay?
Okay.
So the first thing, this is going to fucking piss people off, is intelligence of the human being.
Yeah.
So there are people up and down an intelligence scale, right?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, this is why, nobody wants to really talk about this and people have opinions. Emotions. Can the human being identify and then control their emotions?
Most of the time, no.
So in parentheses, control. Or C. You can slash it and see. Right? Size. The size of the human. So if you have someone that's like the lady my son works for is like 4'9",
Yeah.
and she
And
weighs
like-
under 90 pounds.
Yeah.
She's not going to be able to put a physical correction on there. So now, is it physical spiritual. You know what I'm talking about,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Is it psychological?
Would that be emotional?
Yeah, but okay. So what are the emotions? You got greed, because greed will make someone correct very stupidly. Like, we got to get this done.
Yep.
We got to get this done. So they,
For the money.
yeah. So that's greed, right?
Right.
Then you've got pride, anger,
Yeah.
sadness. Yeah, yeah. Well, hyper compassion.
Yeah. That's a better way to
Well,
put it.
sadness is different. Sadness is, I can't make it out of this room.
All right.
That's sadness, right?
hyper.
Hyper compassion is, I don't want any dogs to ever be put down ever, and I want, this dog has no legs, so I'm just gonna drag him around in a sled with your face. That's emotion. Do you see? Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a time to give the ultimate correction, which is, you're done, right? And it's actually one of the most peaceful things you can do. How you do it? Well, there we go. If you fuck it up, it's a correction. If you don't, it's R.I.P.
Right.
So hyper compassion, pride, anger, ignorance. I don't know if it's
Is
an
that
emotion.
emotion?
It's under
Yeah,
intelligence, right?
that's here.
Arrogance.
But that's gonna be you here.
Yeah.
Happy.
Yeah.
Super happy.
What? So happy, is it clueless? Like, it's all right, everything's okay. The dog's biting my left breast, but it's okay. Like, that's, what are we doing there?
That's true. But
So what is that?
okay,
I don't know what that is. But I'm talking about like,
okay, so like
I get Justice and I say sit, she sits, and I get stupid. Like, that's dumb. What are we doing?
Yeah, but that's a different thing, because that emotion of being happy at the right time, what's the level of it? So we're talking about, what's the level of greed, what's the level of pride. So now, but you understand what I'm saying to you? And people do not think about this shit, and then they wonder, like, the best dog trainers in the world are the ones that can control their emotions.
Yeah.
Absolutely, right?
Yeah.
And now you have to understand what controlling your emotions is. This is why It's Not the Dog, It's You exists. Because we have to teach the people what they're doing.
right. Because we should all strive for it.
Neutral. Right, yeah. What about indifference? What about, the dog's tied out back, fuck it, I'm not getting up.
Yeah. That's apathy.
Apathy. What about cruelty? You understand? Like,
Yep.
so, that kid who stuck his finger up the dog's ass.
I would put that up here.
Yep. Ah, really? I'm
Yes.
not sold. I'm just.
Okay, because cruelty, I don't know, that usually comes from. So I feel like
No, I
cruelty.
agree.
No, so I feel like cruelty is a byproduct of emotion. So like,
Yeah.
if you're angry
Yeah, it
and
becomes a
you
human action.
throw a dog out the window, that's cruel.
But you
But
did
it
it
was
because
because
you
you
were
were angry.
feeling some kind of way.
Yeah.
So where does it go?
I'm just gonna put this over
It's
here
in
right
its
now.
own thing. Right?
Yeah.
It should be under ignorance.
Yeah, like, yeah, because it's really out of frustration, which is generally because you're like, I don't want.
The moment you become angry or frustrated, you stop thinking about the well-being of the dog and you start thinking about yourself. What about self-awareness? Is that an emotion?
That's not an emotion, but I think that's another human thing.
Yeah, but it's learned, isn't it? Like, nobody's born.
But there's a level of self-awareness.
Yeah, there are levels.
Well, yeah, but I mean, that's why I'm saying it's. So I would put it here because you could say that you are, you're not at all.
Those are the hardest people to reach.
You're.
But so here we go. Can fear, which is a
That's
human
an
emotion, can fear change your level of self-awareness? Yep. People go into shock.
Yes.
What about trauma? That's physical. We haven't even got into the physical
Right.
shit yet. Well, we have size.
We'll see a little bit. But so I feel like no, it doesn't change your self-awareness. I think it just changes your response. Because it's not like I'm fearful, I don't understand who I am, how I am. It's
Can you stay self-aware through fear?
can you keep it in mind? Okay, because like I'm self-aware. I'm aware that I cannot fight a grizzly bear. Like there's nothing there.
But
if a grizzly bear comes through the door and I have no other options, I'm not gonna just give up. That's just not who I am as a person.
right, what do they tell you to do? Lay down the ball.
Yep.
What about a black bear? It's different. Yeah, you go to
Yeah.
a black bear. Yeah. What about a polar bear?
No idea.
You're done.
yeah, no.
You're done. They don't give no fucks.
running.
There's nothing but snow. I don't care what you do. I'm eating you. That's
Yeah.
how it is, right?
I'm trying to dig
So
a-
that's environment controlling temperament.
Yeah.
So
And
now
that's like the ultimate corner because you can it's
vicious corner.
Yeah, it's not even a physical corner that the bear packs you up into. It's just go ahead, run. I'm just gonna walk behind
funny.
you.
That's elephants too. People, there's nowhere to run on the plains, so they go up a tree.
The elephant.
I'm the biggest natural bulldozer on the planet.
Yep.
So guess what?
It's coming down.
You gonna die. But people don't think, they don't understand animal behavior, right? So they can't see DPOV, and if they can't see HPOV or HEPOV, they can't, or HEPOV. You can't see it, you can't fix it, right? So now we'll move off from that. Now add tools.
All right, we're gonna go.
Because you have methods?
up there.
Okay, so
Yeah, I need to put that over here.
yeah, okay, we'll just start over here. But it's not even that's not even a method. That's an application.
What? Which one?
All of the quadrants are application.
Well, I just put our positive.
Yeah, I understand, but that's all application. And it assumes a great
Yeah.
deal that you understand the levels of what to apply. Right?
Yep.
So there's people out there going like, I'm going to do positive punishment, and they're like this. And then there's people out there who do positive punishment, and they go, ah, uh-oh, right? And then there's people like a puppy. I told you, I went to a place where a guy was, April and I were going to buy an Amstaff puppy, right?
Yeah.
So it was in a wire crate. It was 7 weeks old. In a wire crate, and the dog was barking. So dude goes over, the old dude, goes over, scruffs the puppy, and just whacks it on the ass. That's positive punishment, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So now,
Because you're adding.
when he stops, what is that?
I don't know.
When he stops applying positive punishment, it's negative reinforcement, right?
Right.
Right. So now, and don't get me going on the quadrant.
Yeah.
But here's the deal. That's not a method,
Yeah, it's just.
right? So now people are calling tools methods. I'm an e-collar trainer.
Yeah.
That's a tool. That's not. So write down tools. What are the tools? So give me tools.
Prong.
Oh my God, you're starting way too far down the line.
Oh, okay. Leash.
Nope, you're still way too.
What?
Pressure.
Okay.
Do you think pressure is a tool? It absolutely is.
All right.
No, but let's look at that.
No, I can see me because if you know, especially if you know how to use it, that's great.
Sure.
But if you
I mean,
don't, yeah.
It's a tool. I use it all the time,
Yeah.
right? But people don't think that's a tool because they think the tool's like they'd make a list that's very naive.
Yeah. That's
Right?
Yeah.
So I want you to think about tools. What are tools? Can a ball be a tool?
Yeah.
Can a piece of furniture be a tool?
Yep.
What's a tool? What's the most benign tool you can think of?
Benign.
Yeah, like I mean, the
Your
purely.
voice. Benign is what got me.
It's not benign. That's a
Okay.
misspeak.
Okay.
I think. What's the lowest level of correction you can probably get? To a dog?
I mean, anything that just it depends on the dog.
Sure. So now there's variables.
Write
Write it down. So it's level of correction. Now you're into level of correction. Might as well draw another line and write area of influence.
Damn it. Made that line too long then.
But you understand what's happening is this is a very deep rabbit hole.
Yep.
that is so situationally important, genetically important, personal awareness, self-awareness important, right? So when people say, I hate corrections and I don't use them, you don't understand them.
Right.
And when people say, I'm an e-collar trainer, they don't understand corrections. They have one tool in the toolbox. And they'll tell you, I use a tug, or I use a ball, or I use food.
Right.
Yep. But your foundation is based in electronics.
Yep.
So if you take the electronics away, can you train a dog as well? Then you are one-dimensional. You're one-dimensional. Yes, everybody uses, even purely positive people use positive punishment.
Yeah.
They don't know it sometimes, or they'll lie and go. They go home like, or they're out the dog show. I'm totally positive. That's so. And then they go home and they're like, you fucking didn't win. Like it's really bad.
It is really bad.
Right, and then we get over there. Where does correction turn into abuse? That's easy.
Yep.
When there's no way out.
Yep.
There's no way out. There's no logical explanation. So let me ask you this.
That also depends on the dog, though. What does the dog know?
Well, the dog will go, yeah, I know I'm going to fuck you up.
Yeah.
I know I'm going to fold and just quit. And I know the first chance I get, I'm going to run away. So you got avoidance behavior.
Oh, that's a... I didn't put that down.
Yeah.
Huh. Would that be... I'm just going to put it under action right now. Because I know it's not an action. Well, it kind of is an action.
It's a behavior.
It is, but I
But
have a
it's,
couple
so
of
what
those.
behaviors are induced by people and what are natural behaviors? Now, avoidance is a natural behavior,
But it's also induced by people.
people.
Yep.
So when people get so emotional that they want to ban corrections, they don't want to make the dog uncomfortable. The dog, and here's the end of this, right? An abused dog, by and large, is, depending on the level, excuse me, is much more likely to respect people. And fear is a form of respect.
Yep.
A pampered dog with no corrections is almost assuredly going to disrespect people in a more dominant way. Aggression, biting, stuff like
Right.
that. But there are dogs that if you don't correct them, they get scared. They're like, I don't know, no one's leading me, and they get scared. They don't know how to handle life because they're, so here we go. When we take a dog away from its mom and its siblings, most people stop naturally training the dog and unnaturally train the dog. They take the dog and give it everything it wants, don't stop it from it, you know what I mean, like, what the fuck? And then the dog starts to go, I can't do anything wrong. And everything I do is right. That's Justin Bieber.
Yep.
That's a recipe for disaster. And so sometimes when you do that, the dog really is much more intelligent and goes, this isn't natural. Like, someone's at the door, and they're like, it's okay. And then the dog is like, okay, I don't know what to do. So the dog takes over, and it's usually in fight, flight, or freeze.
Right.
You got those in behaviors, fight, flight, or freeze?
No.
Are they genetic, or are they nurtured? Is it learned?
It can be.
Is it a combination? Sure, you take a fearful dog and push it the wrong way, give it too much freedom.
Right.
Yeah. I like F with the 3, like Q.
Oh yeah.
That's my favorite.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I like that.
And that makes more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now, the level on the e-collar. An e-collar on a puppy. An e-collar on a dog that doesn't know the answer. It has not been taught what
Right.
the answer is.
That's what I was saying about different.
That's how everybody's
puppies.
handling everything now.
Yeah.
Because they're not
Yeah, they'll
seeing.
figure it out.
Okay, so let's put tools. So you got pressure.
Which.
What about a can of nickels? Throw can. Go ahead. I want to piss you off in a minute.
Why? Why?
Tell me what I'm thinking next. We talked about it today already. people think the bonker was invented recently.
Oh yeah.
It was not.
Right.
People rolling up newspaper
Right,
or
right.
a fucking caveman with a stick.
Right.
That's so bonking. We'll put down.
Yeah.
Bonking. People like bonking.
He did. Oh, never mind.
Okay. Choke chain. Prong. E-collar. Riding crops. I've seen people use paintball guns. I've seen people use nooses and lynching. I've seen people use. I mean, it gets dark. Like the further you get down that road. But food's a tool. Let's go up the happy side. Food, ball, or a toy. Clicker's a tool. Your voice is a tool. So the tools are endless. They literally will be endless.
Yeah.
Right? Hands, feet, everything. Right?
Yeah.
So that could be endless. Now the level of correction is directly. So you can draw a line here. Draw a line up from level of correction to intelligence and emotions. Up the back. There you go. So your level of intelligence and your level of emotion are going to dictate more than anything else, and self-aware, and even size. Because if you have someone as a Great Dane and it's a size mismatch, they need to using corrections. They need to teach that dog that it's small and it thinks it's always small. But what do? They teach it that it's big, so they go weaponize a collar or they get rid of the dog.
Right.
That's another tool. Getting rid of the dog. Pass the buck, baby. Bye, dog. Area of influence. How many times do people understand that area of influence? If the dog's far away from you and it's eating the trash and you go, hey, that's voice that was ineffective, right? Now you start charging the dog and you've whooped its ass before. The pressure becomes the tool, not the voice. But how many people think it's the voice? Do you know what I mean?
Pretty much everybody.
Right. So now we start going, area of influence is distant, volume, level of current. You know what I mean? Like electricity.
Yeah. Well, wouldn't that be here?
It's both. Because electricity has, you're not going to get 10 miles.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Or, you know.
Well, I mean, that would be.
Yeah. You're right. When you're right.
You're right.
You're right. Level of correction and anger.
Is. Well,
Yeah.
What is that timing?
Yeah.
Where would timing go?
But it's in there. It's right
Yeah.
in there. Is your timing. Like we haven't even gotten to timing yet.
Right.
Which is the joining of identifying, because you have stuff up there: behaviors, temperament, history, health, age, size, drive.
That's all dog.
That's all dog. And then you've got dominant, submissive. You've got fearful, defensive, shy,
Neutral, social, hyper, anti, aggressive.
aggressive. And then you go down here, redirecting as an action. So what are your actions?
Peeing and pissing and shitting, barking, lunging, pulling,
Yep.
chewing. Possessive and protective is behavior.
Mhm.
Attacking,
Yeah.
biting,
Yeah.
chasing,
Yep.
redirecting, hiding, running away, and then these two.
How many times does someone make a bad correction because they don't know the behavior and they don't know themselves and they're in a pissed off mood and they correct the dog and it redirects because the dog is going like, nope, and then they go, you're not going to put your mouth on me. So imagine I sit here all day and go, how long is it going to take you to redirect?
Not long.
Right, I know. And then I go, you're disrespecting me. Who disrespected you first? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what is that? Is that
That's.
the read? Is it reading?
I don't know. I put.
You got to understand behavior. Not only do you have to understand dog behavior, but you have to understand human behavior. If you're going to use any of your intelligence, when people talk about dog behavior, and then they talk about corrections, they don't understand that if you're talking about reward and you're talking about corrections and you're talking about training, it's not just dog behavior anymore.
No.
It's human behavior.
Yeah.
And the human is the one that has to adjust.
Yeah. Yep.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
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 Yep. So,
Justice is really good for showing me all this stuff.
yes, a great dog.
Because I went to
What's
Leisure
a
the other
great
day.
dog?
Right. I went to Leisure the other day, and I couldn't hear.
Because dogs are barking.
Yeah, because they were barking.
Yep.
And so I grabbed her. She couldn't hear me because I said "foos," and she wasn't responding. So I grabbed her collar. When I turned around, she's like, "Ah!"
Oh yeah.
And I was like, "What the hell just happened?"
Well, that's history.
Yeah.
And that's perceived. When that dog was little, she was how old and put on a table to do bite?
12 weeks.
12 weeks. She put an e-collar on because she got the wrong mess. So they're not seeing agitation as a correction, right?
And that would be history.
Right, but it's also pressure. So draw a line from. I mean, do you understand what I'm saying?
So then we're going from here to there.
Right. Yeah. So now you've got natural environmental. Okay, so living environmental is, so you're talking about reward and correction.
Right.
Rabbits, most of the time reward. Chickens,
most of the time reward.
You know, rats will fight back a little bit, but you know, porcupines,
Correction.
moose,
Correction.
bear,
Correction.
snakes,
Correction.
some not. So all those corrections. So nature is full of balance.
Right.
It teaches by allowing or correcting. A rabbit is an allower, a porcupine is a corrector. Which one would you rather go for?
Yeah.
The rabbit.
Yeah.
Right? And you get your source reward. So now we're talking about source reward and source correction. Write it down. Different color.
Yeah. Let's do
Jesus.
this color first for a little bit. Where would I even put this? What source reward? and
This
source
is when
correction
people
is
start
be-
talking about all this shit like they really know what's going on. I go, you're out. Why are you speaking? Why? You have not thought about this deeply. You blew it off.
Yeah. I'm just gonna make its own little.
Okay. Yep. Reward, source correction. So what's the source reward go up and what's the source correction go down? So rabbit, so prey items. But see, a porcupine can be prey.
But can it?
Yeah, there's martins that eat them. They bat them in the nose until they bleed or turn over, and then they eat them.
Oh.
Yeah, well, it's okay.
So all I need to do is find a porcupine and bat it in the nose for a little bit. And
Well, if you want to eat it, yeah.
It'll eventually give in to me.
Well, humans, it's really easy to kill a porcupine
Yeah, that's true.
because they're slow, and you can get through their defenses very quickly with a bullet.
Yeah.
Or a stick.
Stick.
Yeah.
A knife.
So source correction, this is natural source correction, natural source reward. Okay?
Okay.
Source correction, toad, it'll piss on you. Venomous snake, venom. Okay. Porcupine is quills.
Yep.
All of these are pain and discomfort, by the way.
Yep.
Skunk, spray.
Spray. Oh, you know what it is.
Yeah.
Chemical.
Chemical, yeah, it is. Chemical, biological,
Yeah.
chemical. Source reward, chicken, pigeon, everything that is in abundance. Rabbits are in abundance. Mice are in abundance. All those things that are everywhere and easy to catch. Fish, yep. It's harder to catch the fish. Well, now we're going into another environment.
Let's not. Let's just get rid of that one. There's not enough board space.
You know what you need to put up there too?
What?
Mental illness.
Yeah.
So in the human category, intelligence, emotion, size, self-awareness, mental illness. Right?
Yeah.
Trauma.
It'll be.
Yeah, and that's in dogs too.
Yeah. Which is.
And we're not even getting into history like rescue. You know, you raised it. So what was this all for again?
A correction.
To do a playbook on correction.
Single. You know, and that's what I'm saying.
Single learning event?
Why did I say single? I tried to back out of that real
Don't!
quick.
You gotta, don't!
But I want it to make sense.
It's gonna, but you have to put it all there. If it is a thing that cannot be, this is the intangible equation of dog training. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
This is where humans have the hardest time because they cannot get their head around an intangible. Do you understand?
Yeah.
This is people that are fucked up with the quadrants. They think the quadrants is a method of training.
Right.
They do
it's
not.
Just a definition.
It's just a description.
Really, yeah.
Because when you get into, that's what everybody thinks is the correction hack.
Yeah.
Is the quadrant.
Yeah.
But it's so much more than that. And when you understand that we're not even into physical environmentals. We're into, do you understand what I mean? So how a correction is perceived, now we get into how does the dog perceive the correction? Does it know the answer if you're correcting it? If you want to stop a behavior and you're correcting a dog because it's doing something disobedient,
That's application, though.
that's application.
That's your hydraulic versus kinetic, and
Write it down. You think we're ever going to figure this out?
no,
Why?
because I think we already have it figured out to a degree. Like
I think we understand it.
Yeah, right.
If you
that's what I'm saying.
think, you can understand it.
Right, but
So the more experience you
I
have,
don't-
you should be able to think of it faster.
I don't think that we're going to be able to put it into a
Yeah,
nice
there's no
little
way.
how-to.
There's no way.
Because what people want is like, my dog got on
Yeah.
the counter.
Yeah.
This is what I
Yeah,
do.
that's why it's an art. That's why it's a craft.
Right.
That's why you'll never, ever, ever get people to agree on corrections. Because if emotion comes into it, if intelligence comes into it, if mental illness comes into it, and it's all fucked up on the human side. Nature had this shit corrected. It's negative, positive, there's a consequence, there's no consequence. Humans, because of their emotional state, because of their self-awareness level, because of their intelligence, decided, I don't like nature. Does that make sense? So what did they do? I'm going to come up with purely positive training. I'm going to invent an e-collar. I'm going to invent this. The craft is human to animal.
Yep.
Right?
Well, yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it at a base level, it's animal to animal.
It
It's
is
just,
animal.
it's just,
That's right.
how do you engage
And what
with this
people don't
animal?
understand is we have all of the same behaviors as these dogs.
Yeah.
What are the drives? Sex drive? We have that.
Yep.
Food drive?
Yeah.
Prey drive?
Yeah.
Defense drive?
Yeah.
Hunt drive?
Yeah.
Social drive?
Yeah.
Yep. But people won't look at themselves in a primal way.
Right.
They will not. We're here. Now I want you to add two big letters to the middle of that. P and C.
Oh, yeah. Here, I'll just do a...
A chaotic P
Yeah.
and C.
It's just all four colors. We'll just do.
P, C. Yeah, that's very correct. I don't think we're going to get this one.
Nope. Not in playbook form.
No, there's no way.
Because the truth will set you free, but at first it will hurt like a motherfucker.